So who am I? So my name's Sam Sutton. I kind of started off in business 20 or so years ago now with a passion for canoeing and kayaking, and I wanted to kind of share that sort of passion with the world. And we set up a business called Liquid Logistics, and we started taking people canoeing and kayaking on the Bewley River. That venture has grown significantly, and it's now New Forest Activities. That is, the core business really that I run. And then I guess as that business is now fairly self-sufficient, there's a team in place that runs it operationally. As an entrepreneur at heart, really, I wanted to kind of move into the next chapter of my business life. And to do that, I thought it'd be lovely and a really good thing to do to be share our success and how we did it with other people. Hence the idea of becoming a business coach. Right now, as well as little bits of coaching, I'm in the process of launching a startup, and we're also launching an acquisition in the same kind of space. So, I'm very much, this is kind of from the coalface. I'm not a marketing agency. I don't sell any marketing services. I'm really kind of just sharing with you guys stuff that I know that works when it comes to marketing. And as I kind of review your marketing workshop, I wanted to kind of give you an insight into the kind of system that we've used to grow our business sort of significantly particularly over the last few years. My second child made it very apparent that no longer was it kind of a lifestyle business. It had to be a business that really did have long-term legs and could work without me and could be scaled. And that model is now what we're looking to replicate with some other opportunities. So my job is to kind of share best practice, and one of the key things for it is having this understanding that the most important thing that you can do in your business is get and keep customers, because at the end of the day, a business without marketing is like a car without fuel. It might be a lovely thing, but it ain't going to go anywhere, and it's not going to keep momentum, and it's not going to kind of move you forward. So in terms of being an entrepreneur or anyone that's involved in running a business, having this as a core skill is really important. The ability to produce revenue consistently, predictably, and profitably are the kind of lifeblood of your business. So, marketing is not a nice thing, it's an essential thing. And it was really interesting, actually, moving into lockdown, the number of businesses that decided to stop their marketing at the point where cost per click, everything like that started to actually reduce. And, obviously your business was potentially shut. However, you could still build a pipeline, you could still build interest in your company. And that's kind of a little bit what we did at New Forest Activities, actually, and it kind of paid off. Because the problem for most of us is that the small little things in our business attract our attention. And those are the things that kind of get us doing stuff. So we spend, a lot of our working hours firefighting, fixing problems, and we don't actually work on the business. And it's not a twee thing to say working on the business, it's working on the business to produce revenue, because these are the things that actually are going to make us rich, make things successful, because business owners are kind of trapped in the day-to-day. And I work with and have spoken to many business owners, and this actually is largely the problem for many small business owners. They get trapped in the day-to-day and can't take control of their marketing. I don't know if people have read things like the E-Myth and books like that, but we start our businesses because we're the expert. We started up our business because we loved canoeing and kayaking. We were really good at that. We kind of coached that, but we actually had no idea how to run a business. We didn't know how to create proper products. We didn't know how to sell them. We were just kind of quite fortunate, really, that there was enough of a market there to support us originally, without having any kind of marketing kind of skill. Now, as we kind of want to grow our business and scale and do other things, we've got that skill. The money's in the marketing. It's really important. And a lot of people fight back. If I create a good enough product, then it's good enough, but it's not if nobody knows about it. So marketing effectively, which is what this is all about, is getting a rhythmic flow of customers into your business. So that next month you're going to have customers, and the month after that, and the month after that. It's not a case of let's hope that people buy. We need to be really effective with this thing, because marketing can be complex, requires a lot of specialist knowledge, and needs high level execution. So it's really important that we crack this rhythmic acquisition, and we use a system to do that. And I'm going to talk you through a little bit of this afternoon. There is a bit of reviewing your market, but this is effectively the system that we've used in our business, the Entrepreneurs Marketing and Sales System. And I now know, I think I did a similar presentation a few months back, probably even last year in lockdown. This is slightly different. But this is tried and tested. You know, we've exploded our business off the back of lockdown, and it's largely because of the system that we've kind of put in place, and it allows us to train our staff. It allows everybody in the organization to understand exactly what we're doing at any moment. So we're kind of really congruent. First thing to do is to effectively set your goals, find your gap, you know, understand where your business is now and where you want it to be. Last night I run local workshops, and this effectively was the topic of conversation. You know, get people to kind of look at 2022 and set some goals and put some numbers behind that, because you know, you can't just throw money at marketing without having a measure, and you can't just throw money at marketing without knowing where you're going. So it's really important to start with the end in mind. And once you found your gap, we put the foundation blocks in place. And you know, the bulk of this presentation really is about talking to you about what these foundation blocks are. So, you know, in terms of review, have you got these things implemented? Are they in place? What can you do to improve them? And then I've actually got some check sheets and tick lists and things that you can, I'm not going to, you can basically drop me an email and I'll send you the tick lists and tick sheets and stuff. So I wanted to set the scene. I'm going to fly through this stuff now, but I am available to kind of back it up. And obviously we'll leave a bit of time for Q&A at the end. So I'm hoping 10 minutes we'll get through the bulk of this, and then it leaves us plenty of time for chat at the end. Because if you know my presentations, they're going to be quite fast and furious, and I'm going to be chuck a lot of content out at you. So we're going to roll through the foundation blocks of the Entrepreneurs Marketing System, because it's your, you know, your travel bag. You know, they're the bits you always take on holiday. You kind of your pants, your socks, your toiletries, the charger, the stuff that always come there. You have to have the foundation blocks in place. And the first thing to do, the first part of the foundation block, is review your marketing assets. And I don't know if you can kind of read this on the screen, but this is a check sheet that we use within the system to ensure that any piece of marketing that goes out with your logo on it, with your name on it, is scored with this little scorecard here. Again, I can make this available to people after the presentation, but this, you know, given the topic of the workshop, I did really think it'd be worth spending a little bit of time on that. So number one is be crystal clear with what each piece of marketing is trying to achieve. It should really have one call to action, one thing. So if you think about your marketing as a funnel, is this the bit at the top of the funnel where you just want to, you know, offer people some value in return for some contact details, you know, maybe an email address, you know, maybe a little bit of maybe a Facebook pixel if you're kind of doing it on Facebook, but, you know, or is it actually you want to organize a phone call with a client and it's a bit further down the funnel? Because a lot of marketing that people put out has multiple calls to action. It's a little bit confusing for the person that's taking part. So you need to be crystal clear on what this piece of marketing is doing so people can understand it's obvious. Not boring. If you could take your competition's logo and put it on your marketing and it still made sense, then it's kind of gray marketing is what I call it. It's mundane. It's not standing out. It's not you. It's not got anything unique. And you would be amazed if you look around the marketing world in general, look at people's website, you think, oh, if I just swap this logo for that, it would still make sense. And being not boring is about having a personality, some clear positioning behind your business, you know, and be able to kind of say why you are uniquely you and why people should really do business with you. And again, there's a few little tidbits in there about not using stock images and, you know, just really being standing out, right? Clear positioning, I've just mentioned, you know, again, you should have a differentiator. There should be a reason. You know, people can go canoeing in Southampton, but it's not the Beauly River. And, you know, we sing and we make a song and dance about the fact that we're in a nature reserve. It's unique, we're exclusive, there's the history, there's a whole charm. It's not a canoeing activity that you can compare with anybody else. It's positioned as a premium product in an exclusive location. And you want to ensure that your business is also clearly positioned. People buy from people. Does your About Us page just say stuff about we do this and we do that and not actually identify people as individuals? Is it kind of what I would call corporate speak? It's all right for IBM to kind of come up and have a a fairly ubiquitous kind of about us page. But if you're a small business, and I'm sure everyone here kind of is in the greater scheme of things, your about us should be about you as people, and you should include in videos and photos and things like that of your team, right? So it's kind of at a personal level. People buy from people. Video, it's I would say it's impossible, probably not quite true, but certainly very challenging nowadays to get attention without using video in your marketing. Certainly your website should have video content on it, but video is a very, very powerful medium. If you look at New Forest activities at our website now, you will see that we've gone pretty big on video, and it has paid off massively in terms of people understanding us and being confident to buy from us without actually talking to us. Video is a bit of a game changer, really, if you can really embrace that. Song and dance about the things that you've achieved, awards, accreditations, don't hide them. New Forest Business Partnership runs a great award scheme. If you kind of nominate or you've got them, make sure you tell the world about it. It's like the independent reviewing, it just adds kind of real power behind what you've done. People kind of trust you, and they see you as a leader, which again is this important thing of independent review sites. Your TripAdvisor, Trustpilot, Google, Facebook. Make sure you've got lots of reviews, and again you publish those within your marketing collateral. Testimonials. Not, I guess testimonials are a little bit kind of cliched now, because you can kind of write your own, and it's not quite as good as independent reviews, but proper case studies will really, really work, where you can show an emotional connection between your product and the results that it's created for somebody like your avatar, is still a really powerful thing. So case studies, testimonials, still need to be featured in your marketing. And I think number 9 is probably the crux of this to a degree. You need to have a real strong offer, a real reason for people to take action. And offers are not necessarily discounts. They are, there could be a very good guarantee. It could be a limited time thing. It could be a limited availability thing, but you need to give people a strong reason to take action now, not tomorrow or next week or in the future. Marketing needs to get people to do what you want them to do now, because the minute they put it down or scroll away, the chance of them coming back is really small. And then finally, multiple clear calls to action. It says underneath there, at least 4, probably more. Don't get me wrong, these are the same call to action, but they're just, if you've got a website, for example, or a web page, you would have 4 opportunities at least for people to kind of follow the link to the bit that you want them to do. And again, if you've got long form copy, you want to kind of keep reminding people of what's the next step, what's going to happen, and why would they do that. This is the first of the foundation blocks, but we use it, review our current marketing in light of these things. We'll have a little look at questions at the end on this. So that's the first thing. I'm going to fly through these others because I'm aware that reviewing's the key bit. But Google My Business, this has been a game changer for us. We're talking, decent 5-figure sums of money we've had directly accountable to our Google My Business profile. It's super important. Google will put your listings, I did an outdoor activity presentation, this is kind of based on that, but when you search something, when you search something, especially something local, so something New Forest, you'll see that Google gives big preference to Google My Business with the map, and you want to make sure you've got plenty of reviews on there, and a whole host of other things to make your profile really stand out. Again, you'll get the gist. This is the checklist that we use to make sure that your Google My Business is up together, and effectively by ticking that off, you will have a Google My Business profile that stands head and shoulders above any of your competition or anybody else that you're sharing that little bit of search space with. The next foundation block is to follow up. So many people leave money on the table. They have email addresses that they've never contacted. They've got people that inquired, didn't convert, but they haven't ever bothered following it up. There's multiple ways of doing this. You do it at different points of the funnel, but we're talking following up on a lead. Do you have a lead magnet? Do you have a river campaign off the back end of that? So effectively, New Forest activities, you might download our free guide to the New Forest. That's our lead magnet. And then off the back of that, we've got an automated email campaign that adds value. So it gives them an email about where to stay in the New Forest. It gives them an email about the New Forest ponies. It gives them an email about things they might like to do in the area, which isn't just us. You know, actually, it's not hassling people. We're adding value. We're giving them interesting things. And that's a river campaign because it flows off the back of your lead magnet. And that the bit is you need to add value. It's not sales, it's helping people, in our case, to understand more about the New Forest and why it's a really great place to visit and come and have some fun. And then you also want to have your follow-up processes in place for your inquiry. So when people actually say, I'd like to do X with you, or can I have Y? You want to make sure that you're putting that into a CRM. And again, you're able to follow that up consistently with a clear sales process. I'm not going to go through this flow chart, but this is, again, it's a way of doing this. Again, checklist, check you're doing it. You know, just have a process that you and your staff all follow so that it's kind of consistent, and doesn't matter if you're not there, your staff know what they're doing and they can continue to develop the product. Remarketing. If you go to the New Forest Activities webpage and spend a little bit of time there, we're then going to follow you around the internet. You'll see us on news sites, you'll see us on YouTube, because effectively we're following around, we're remarketing. Prospects visit our website, they browse, see our advert, and they see our advert off the back of it. It was revolutionary sort of 8 years ago, but people still don't, kind of outside of the marketing world, they kind of still don't understand it. It's still very, very powerful, because people normally click then leave. This is the way of, effectively for very little money, getting people back to your website to potentially convert. So if you're doing pay-per-click, which, I'm sure some of you are, the clicks a pound, say, but your remarketing's pennies. And if you spend that £1 to get them in, then you might as well spend the pennies to remarket, because you do get a lot of conversions off the back end. The big three, remarketing, you can remarket on Google, YouTube, and Facebook. Facebook's got a whole load of automations and AI stuff now that you can use. Google as well. I mean, there's some amazing stuff happening in pay-per-click space. YouTube, I'm going to pretend I've not got my head particularly around YouTube yet. It's quite a hard cookie to crack. But it is these are the kind of trilogy really. And the public generally don't understand it. If you're kind of everywhere, they think you're a big company. I'm not going to dwell on this one. This is just a little bit about price. Reviewing your price as part of your marketing. If you have discounts, it has a big impact on your profit. If you put your price up just a little amount, it can have a big impact on your margins. And again, there's a spreadsheet that literally spells it out for you. It's part of the kind of process of running through the system. And then we're getting to the end of the kind of foundation blocks now. Have a systemized way of getting reviews, a way of asking your customers to review you to ensure that you're getting lots of new, fresh reviews, content onto your Facebook, your Google My Business, all those things, and customers generally don't do it. You have to ask them, you have to have a process for that. A bit of software that we use is an automation. It's called Review Miner. I highly recommend it. It's very cheap. You can trial it. There are others out there, but Review Miner is what we use. Beauty use it. I think there's a couple of other New Forest businesses maybe using it as well. It works really, really well. And then having a marketing calendar as well is a foundation block. You've got to have a clear cycle of launches, a clear cycle of products. For us, it's quite seasonal. You might have seen we recently did all our Halloween kind of paddles, our pumpkin shooting, because we've got assets for that. We've got video content, we've got photo shoots, we've got assets now, so we can do that again next year without having to recreate it all. So building key assets in your businesses adds a lot of value to it. And if you know what you're doing and you're advertising well in advance, you can book things early. For us, we take bookings. We're taking Christmas bookings now for our Santa paddles because we know that we're doing it and it's in the calendar. And our marketing plan is based around a kind of cycle of events and things like that. Here's some things. People like to buy in advance. Everyone knows what's coming up, and we're very focused with what we're doing. Again, this is a big thing, still in the foundation blocks. A knowledge center. This is where you add value to your clients. Again, it's kind of like a little bit like the follow-up on the emails, but we're doing it as a blogs, as articles. We produce a lot of video. If you go to New Forest Activities, there is a kind of help center, knowledge center. It's starting to be populated with loads of really useful stuff. Again, if people are interested, I can give you some resources in terms of books and things where you can get this kind of content. And then effectively, this is what it's talking about. You want reviews, repeat bookings, and referrals off the back of people coming to you. LinkedIn shouldn't be overlooked. We ran a workshop on this last month at our local meet. A lot of people still aren't using LinkedIn very well. If you're B2B, it's really important, but even B2C can do a lot of work. And again, there's a guide for all this stuff. This is what I wanted to kind of get to, really. So this is a kind of a bit of an audit that you can do on your marketing. Again, like the collateral review, this is a check sheet that we use. I'm part of Entrepreneur Circle. I work as a coach there. If I'm starting to work with a client to improve their marketing, we would effectively go through this audit as the kind of first port of call, really, because then we can see which bits of the marketing are going to get the kind of biggest return on investment in terms of quick wins. Again, I don't want to kind of talk through it because it's there on the screen. And again, I can send this file as a PDF to any of you off the back of this meeting. But you'll see some of the stuff in the foundation blocks in there. It doesn't talk about follow-ups because this is very much about lead generation rather than your conversion rates. But it's, again, it's a really useful tool that, like I said, you are welcome to have. This is the full system. We've been through the foundation blocks just there now. The kind of fixed your marketing element rolls onto that. Again, this is beyond the scope of this meeting, but there's a lot more content behind it. But it is done in a step-by-step way. So you're not overwhelmed. We'll do that bit next, and we'll do that bit next. And, everything kind of flows. And, whether you outsource it or we do it in-house, you know what's coming next. I just want to kind of finish with this, though, because this was a big thing of what we talked about last night is knowing the score and having metrics. Understanding whether you're doing better this week than you were last week, whether you're doing better this month than last month, because a lot of business owners, the only way they know how they're doing is just to look at their bank account and just think, oh, but that's a cash flow thing. That's not you don't know how big full your pipeline is. You don't know how many people owe you money. This is, and we're not really talking about management accounts here. We're talking about just a few important numbers. Because businesses fail because people don't know their numbers. So a scorecard, and funny enough, keeping score is part of the EMS, is identify the 4 to 6 numbers which are most important in your business, and then track them. When you focus on key numbers, you'll find that they get better and better. And implementing a scorecard in our business about 18 months ago has had a massive impact on the focus of our staff. We review it every Monday, and it becomes the important thing. And because these numbers are the most important numbers in our business, funny enough, our business has grown dramatically as a result. This is kind of like your dashboard, really, not like you're flying a jumbo jet. This is a very tight, the important numbers. You still have your management account, you still have your cash flow forecast, you still have all that stuff in the background, but it's the numbers, the 4 to 6, which are super important. So for example, it might be web visits, leads, conversations, and deals. This effectively is ours. How many people come to the website? How many of those become leads? How many of those do we then have a chat with? And how many of those chats result in a deal, which is effectively a proper lead? And their inputs, that stuff that we can impact, we can do something about. Bookings and revenue are the output. We want to track those. But if I said I want to grow my revenue by 10%, it's fairly meaningless. What I really need to do is maybe increase my web visits by 20%, because that I know will lead directly to revenue, because I know the ratios of my numbers. Again, do a whole 2-hour workshop on numbers, but I'm just giving you an idea of what a scorecard might look like. Numbers you must know in your business in terms of marketing is your cost per acquisition. How much does it cost you to get a new customer? The average transaction value. What is that customer worth to you? So once you've paid your 10 quid, 100 quid, or whatever it is to get a customer, what are they worth to you? And then lifetime client value. So the first transaction might just cover the cost of your marketing. So my cost per acquisition is £20, average transaction value is 20 quid. Oh, maybe I don't want to be spending money. But actually, if you know that on average customers come back 5 times, then you're like, well, hang on, that's 100 quid. So every time I buy a customer for 20, I get £100. Then you might be spending more money on your marketing, because marketing is maths plus creativity. And you've got to understand the results of your creativity in terms of the numbers that kind of impact your business. There's a bit of it.
I'm going to have to close you. We need some questions.
Yeah,
So,
I am. We are done, to be fair.
Brilliant.
Thank you, Sandy, for bringing me to that. I'm going to stop sharing.
Yep.
I do kind of bombard people with content, and I'm here to kind of follow up properly as well with folk off the back of that.
No. I wanted you to get some questions because there was so much content there. I get it, but it's a whistle stop tour. But what the standout point for me is you've got to have a structure. You've got to have a strategy. You've got to know your own purpose of your own business, relevance, what you're trying to achieve, the outcomes. But look, don't let me talk. What I'll do is I'll pass over to the first person who actually wants to ask a question of Sam. Phil.
Hi, Sam. Thanks for that. That was really interesting. I'm intrigued to know how you would deal with a business like mine. I'm a great believer in setting goals and the numbers that you were talking about and so on. I can't hear you, by the way, because you're on mute. But
yeah, I'm listening.
I run tech support for computers. If your Mac computer's not working properly, I can do tech support remotely. But I don't know whose computer is going to break next week or next month. So how would you plan for sort of marketing to people when you don't know whether they're going to be there? Does that make sense?
Yeah. So you first job, I mean, this is the kind of fix your marketing bit now. So you would want to identify the type of people that use your service. Yep. So because you want to effectively discount a vast amount of the population, so you can focus your limited marketing resources on the people that are going to buy. Yeah. So first of all, it's Apple owners, right? Now, do you work with business owners? Do you work with people off the street, kind of B2C, B2B? What's your focus?
It's generally just people, independent people, start again. Small business and below that. So just people working at home or just using their computers at home.
Yeah. So
I don't generally go into big business because I'm connecting remotely.
And then of those people that sort of, if you think about your perfect client, have you done like an avatar exercise? Have you done an exercise where you've kind of profiled your perfect clients? If you think about the customers you most love to work with, the ones that pay you without fuss, they understand what you're trying to do for them, they get the value. If you can kind of profile them, you then want to think, well, where do those kind of people hang out? And then you
that's the hard bit. That's the hard bit to work out. I mean, I get a lot of repeat business, which is great, but it feels if I'm advertising or trying to talk to other people about, sort of getting people on board. I'm guessing.
And effectively, once you kind of know where the people that you want to work with hang out and where they come together, and that could be, online, probably, to be fair, as much as anything else. There'll be Mac forums and there'll be, Apple's got quite a bit of a cult following, hasn't it? So I'm sure there's a lot of places where they all hang out. You just want to add value to those conversations. You're not selling, you're just giving people top tips, how to keep your MacBook in top condition.
Yeah.
And what to do if your MacBook fails to do its Apple Play. I don't know, but there'll be a series of information bits that you can produce content around, articles, videos, and just people are, Phil knows his stuff when it comes to it. And then when it breaks, they're going to come to you. Does that kind of make sense?
It does. Thank you.
We spend again a long enough time on that, but I want to give others a chance to go.
I'll let others to ask. Thank you.
Just to put it into context, Sam, how long would you've got many different variations. If a client wanted to take that journey with you, how long are we talking?
So the entrepreneurs, to go through the whole system is about 12 months. You can do it quicker. It can take a bit longer. It very much depends on how much energy, how much resource, how much you're putting into the effort of getting it done, really. The idea is that you do it like multiple times. The first time you do it, you get everything, what we call stabilized. You make sure you've got everything in place. And you get, because you don't want to stop marketing because it's not ready yet. I mean, that would be a fool's, good is good enough. Any marketing that goes out is going to get an impact. I mean, perfectionism will kill businesses. Absolutely. It has to go out. But yeah, typically 9 to 18 months to go through it. New Forest Activities is now gone its third cycle through it. So we're very much polishing now, and I'm exiting that business because it's self-sufficient. And that's what you do on the third time through. And the whole point of our entrepreneurial growth now is to take on other businesses and to do the same with them, run them through the system. And the same with clients, and it's not just me, there's lots of coaches doing this, and it's what Entrepreneur Circle really is all about.
Excellent, excellent. Jane, you made a very pertinent comment about what a big subject marketing is, and that, you know, Sam has literally just covered one aspect of it. You do a lot of kind of complementary, similar kind of work to what Sam does. But what's your take on some of the bits that Sam has advised us today?
Well, first of all, I think I can't believe how much you got through in such a short time.
That's that. I always try and do that. That's the.
And secondly, it's so lovely to hear your growing passion for marketing, which really shines out. I think my take is that, yeah, all that has got to be done. There is just so much to it that, of course, the way where I come from, I would often suggest that finding a partner to do it with is the way to go. But it kind of depends on what your business is. I mean, the two businesses that we've just started working with recently have both made a decision that they need to do these things. They need to have a plan. They need to get these things done, and they've come to the separate conclusions that actually finding an outsourced partner to work with it on is their preferred route. And of course, that's how we work as Bartley Marketing. I suppose on the Lymington.com side of things, we're just all about promoting businesses in a very efficient and pretty cost-effective way. So we're kind of providing a machine, if you like. Well, it's a very personalized machine, but it is it's a kind of mechanic to help you get out there and get your messages to a wider audience and increase that hunting ground, if you like, that starting point of where you find suspects and you turn them into prospects. So I have a slightly different take on the way you go through the process, because it's kind of, you start with the world and you're looking for the people who might be interested in what you've got to offer, and you're then trying to get hold of them through all those different methods, and the methods of course change all the time as new ones emerge. And you're kind of keeping, so the sort of principle that we try and keep to is that process of the fact that you're trying to find new people, interest them in something. Yes, content comes into it, offers come into it, calls to action of course come into it. Having processes and systems to make sure you keep in touch with them comes into it. And then what you're trying to do is turn them into that holy grail really of exactly the referrals, the people who like you so much that they come back and they recommend you to others. So I mean, I don't disagree with anything that Sam said. I'm pleased in a way that he said so much in such a short time about and has kind of shown to you all how big it is.
Brilliant, Jane. Thank you. It is a big subject. We can't deny it. But I think given the variety of businesses, the types of business that we've got here, and there are in the Eden Forest, what is critical is to know what that marketing requirement for the business is. You know, what is it that you need to do? What do you need to adapt? And all these kind of things. And there are some really key lessons. I would encourage you to touch base with Sam, myself, if I'm honest with you, because I think there is so much that we can all learn and that we mustn't ignore, because in my experience, corporate as well, the first thing people stop doing is marketing because they think I can't afford it. And fatal error, in my opinion, but that's my opinion.